leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Does weather patterns change your sleep, your health in any way, the way you manage things, the way you prepare for temperatures, and the way that you kind of move, really? I want to know. If you follow the podcast, I did do an episode today. And after Christmas, transition into 2021. This is a short update to connect and let you know that everything's been going right along smoothly with podcasts and videos. And that I've been able to stay a lot more present. I'll give you a few tips for how I kind of integrate my phone into my life. This will definitely be more than an update. I feel like I have the time right now. It's appropriate. So how do I do it? How do I keep integrating creation and, of course, the social connection and interactions that we have with our families and our friends and our kind of art and expressions and all these different things that we want to do on our phone, and we want to be connected, but we also know that being present is very important to our surroundings, to our those around us and things. Well, there's a couple different ways of doing this. Number one, turn off your notifications for Facebook and Twitter. This is a big one. This is a hard one, but you check them and enjoy them and appreciate them when you have time, and including, all the social media apps, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. And, this is just if you need to. Sometimes you might have like a really down time where you have a lot of free time, you have a lot of like downtime, and just a really kind of a time where you don't really have a lot of presence. This isn't saying, this isn't trying to put you in a box and say you have to turn off notifications for everything, but this is just if you get overwhelmed. Just some ideas. So turn off all notifications for social media apps, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I keep mine on for YouTube because I've found that YouTube and podcasts have become social connections in my life. And I kind of like to keep the podcasts show up on my lock screen as Siri suggestions. And I tend to use those more. YouTube shows up as notifications when it comes to comments. I talk to people a lot in comments, and I like to keep up with people's videos and what they're up to and stay connected that way. And it's become quite a nice social network for me over the last, I would say, 2 years. So I keep those pretty active on there. TikTok can be very active, but again, when I'm on there, I'm very connected with others. But I turn all that stuff off, and I can still get emails. With my podcast, I get emails letting me know when people send voice messages, and if my podcast has reached a new platform, things like that. Reached a new podcast player, that kind of stuff. If my anchor platform for the podcast has changed, updated, terms of service, things like that. And so that, I keep in touch with my podcaster side as well with that kind of stuff. The other tip I want to give you, keep all your social and creative apps in a folder. And if you feel like the word social is kind of like overused, I call mine inbox. That's where everything comes in, my texts, my iMessage, my WhatsApp, my Facebook, Twitter, Messenger. I like to keep connected to everybody because everybody has their own communication preference, and because I like to kind of keep those either quiet notifications, or if you're like a big group or that kind of thing, I mute. So I mute like my WhatsApp groups, for example. And then I will go on there throughout the day somewhat. And I check. And then that way, because I just notice sometimes I will get into like debates where I never stop. I just, sometimes I want to overprove my point or overdo it in a conversation. And I just don't. I kind of like don't end the conversation, and it can be very distracting, and that's something I've worked on. Instead of sometimes letting the other person finish up or whatever. So that's, a way to enjoy groups and not restrict myself and be social once in a while and kind of be in groups with people and be okay with it. And if I want to check them, I do. And with WhatsApp, I love it because you can archive conversations, whether it's groups or one-on-one. So that's how I do that. I turn off, notifications in Messenger, of course, as well, and that helps a lot with the spam. And then I can still enjoy the benefits of communicating with family and keeping in touch and being able to be reachable by others through Messenger. That's important because you just never know. Sometimes somebody from your family or somebody that you've known that wants to keep in touch with you just can reach you there easier. But you don't always want the spam and the endless, bots texting and calling all the time and all that kind of stuff. So you keep that off. Don't respond to all the friend requests on Facebook unless you know they're mutual. This will help prevent spam, and I've had this issue. Sometimes I have tended to think that they were from Facebook groups and conversations I've had, and that's how they knew me because some of the names would seem familiar, but that's definitely a big one for me that I've had to learn this year. Let's see. I mean, that's really about it, to be honest, but I thought I said on my podcast that I would do these videos talking about this stuff, and I figured I'd make it one video, make it a little easier. The two could fit together as an update. And so getting into the self-care stuff, because this was my question at the top of the video, and I really, really want to know your thoughts. The weather patterns change your form of self-care. For me, if it gets very, very hot or very, very cold, I take a little bit of a break from some of the house chores, obviously, because you take a few cozy days when it's cold off. I did that, especially, it came around the perfect time. It was a nice wintry Christmas this year, so did that. What was cool, though, was I've been enjoying some of this winter, and just it's like it's not snowing or anything, so I've enjoyed the fresh air, taking a walk and going to our little laundry room and just doing the hell out of laundry and catching up and cleaning and all these things that I've kind of missed from just being summer and just being kind of at home as much as possible on kind of being a little more quarantined, obviously. So it's been very nice and helpful to catch up. Now, with all this being said, it's because of this, the sleep, it does affect sleep, I think, when it tends to get very hot or very cold and the weather changes pretty dramatically here. It tends to affect sleep a little bit. And so I'm learning ways to manage that, and I will share those with you when I have kind of a strategy that's more consistent. But for now, it's kind of cool to not worry about. It's kind of cool to be on kind of a Christmas break right now, let's put it that way. So there you go, that's it. And I hope that you let me know your thoughts. And stay tuned because we got some more coming to transfer into 2021.